Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I'm your host, Stephen Lomer, and my guest this week is a fantasy author. Please help me welcome Lydia Deyes. Lydia. She's very happy to be here, folks. You can tell.
I drove 2 hours.
She drove 2 hours to be here. I have to let everyone know that our dearth of Vermont authors continues. Lydia came from Connecticut. So still 5 states representing. We're still looking for those Vermont authors. So put the word out, wake the kids, call your neighbors. If you know anybody who writes books and lives in Vermont, please, if they can just put down the pot and give us a call, we would be happy to have them. Not that we're not happy to have you. We're always happy to have Connecticut authors because they're always the most fun. So, right off the bat, I have to ask you about this. So you have been writing for a very long time.
Yep.
You've been writing since you were a child.
Yep.
Tell me about the starfish who suffered the existential crisis.
So when I started writing back in third grade.
Third grade, people.
Third grade.
Third grade, okay.
We were given an assignment to write a story. It could be any story. It had to be a picture story. I hated drawing pictures.
Okay.
But it had to be a picture story, and we had like 2 weeks to write it, I think, which for most of the kids wasn't a problem because they were just writing about their dog. But I had this huge idea in my mind of a starfish who wanted to be a star like the ones in the sky. And he went on this whole journey to try to figure out how to do that. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end he would meet a little girl who would pick him up and say, "Oh, you're just like a little star." And it was supposed to be this heartwarming, heart-touching, adorable little story that I had in my mind as a third grader for some reason. But I spent about 3 days picking the font.
3 days picking the font. Wow.
I was in third grade.
Okay, sure.
So I was really excited about the font.
Who wouldn't be?
And the layout. And then I had to make the pictures. And then I had like 3 more days left to make this thing. So I threw it all out the window, wrote a terrible story about a little starfish who wanted to be a rock star. Saw a TV commercial for how to become a rock star kit. For $1, and he was broke, so he didn't have $1. So he borrowed $1 from his friend.
Okay.
Became a rock star, got super rich. He was standing next to a pile of money, and he handed his friend back the $1. Hated this story. Absolutely hated it.
You hated this story.
I hated this story.
Okay. So
had the worst moral. I like stuck it in the back corner. Like my parents were like, "Oh yeah, you got printed book." I'm like, I hate it. But coming out of that class, like the day of our last day that we had to write this, I said, I hate this story, but I liked writing. Okay. And I want to be able to write whatever I want and take however long I need to pick the font. Sure. And I'm not going to draw any pictures. So I started writing about a group of flowers. They lived in trees, and they had ladybugs as pets. And sure. I wrote story after story. I never went back to the starfish story until this last month. And I wrote that story, and I'm planning on publishing it as a children's book. Really? Yeah. You didn't know that.
I did not know that. No, that was not in your bio, so no. I had no way of knowing this.
I actually put it through my writers group. My writers group loved it, gave me some suggestions for how to change it. I'm going to take those changes and try to find a publisher.
Wow, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
The Starfish story is getting published. Does the starfish have a name?
Not yet, but he needs a name. That was 2 of the people who critiqued it said that the characters needed fun, silly names, memorable names, and their names are the Starfish and his friend and Miss Octopus.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
And the Dolphin.
Okay. All right.
So, I need to find some names for them, but.
Okay.
Currently, they don't have any names.
So, people in the comments, let's hear some starfish names.
Yes.
Let's get this going, and the winner gets absolutely nothing.
Your name in the book, maybe.
Maybe. Oh, that's a possibility, but that's not legally binding. So do not pulled us to that. So now, writing this story, did that start you on the path toward being a fantasy author?
So my imagination was extremely overactive when I was a kid. You know,
You don't
flowers,
say.
the starfish. I didn't really have genres in mind when I was a kid writing. When I was in about 7th grade, I read a lot of the Warriors series, and I was also really, really into dragons.
Okay.
And so I started writing a story about dragons, and my mom told me it was terrible.
Mom,
And she told me to throw it out and write a new one.
that's hard.
But I took it well. I took it surprisingly well for a 7th grader. And I was like, okay, so I took her feedback. She had some specific things that she gave me feedback on. So it wasn't just, it's bad, make something different. She gave me specific reasons. She said the characters need better motivation.
Okay.
She said the name of the main character, which was Aragon, but spelled differently, was too similar to Aragon and Aragorn, which was spelled similarly too.
Sure, yeah. I can see that being a problem.
Yep. And there were a couple other issues, and so I was like, you're right. It was kind of a silly kind of fan fiction thing of my friends going and finding something that was a dragon egg in a story that was pretty similar to Aragon.
Okay.
And crossed with Lord of the Rings. So,
okay.
Yep, to be fair, I was like, okay, you're right. So I took a sheet of paper, and this is the first time I have ever plotted, and the only time I have ever plotted.
So you've been a pantser
First
since
and
then.
last. The only time I ever planned anything
All right.
was I took a sheet of paper and I started writing down names of animals, because I liked animals a lot. And so I was like, okay, a cat. Nope, I can think of the Warriors series. That doesn't work, because one of her critiques was it's too similar to everything else that's already been published.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it can't be a cat. A penguin. Oh, no, I can think of Happy Feet. There's a movie about that.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I listed bird and animals after animal and after animal. And then I finally came to sparrow, and I was like, no? Yeah, I can't think of anything. So I was like, all right, this is fun. So I went to the library and did a research on different sparrow species.
Mm-hmm.
Picked one that I liked. The song sparrow was my favorite because I liked the way it looked. And I liked the little song that they sang. And some of the other ones are kind of annoying. And
annoying sparrows, yeah, that's the worst.
And I wrote down little facts about them, the number of eggs they have in their clutches, and I started writing a story, little adventure story about a family of sparrows that is currently nowhere in the book. But that's how it started.
Okay.
Yeah, and it just kind of went from there, and because I read a lot of fantasy, I didn't enjoy reading nonfiction. The only nonfiction books I read when I was that age were the bird book, an encyclopedia of dog breeds,
sure,
which I pretty much memorized,
okay,
and a book about Harry Houdini.
Oh. Okay.
Yep. So that was what I liked
that's
to
a
read.
random combination,
Yep.
all right.
I just thought he was really cool and escaping from things, so that I liked the biography of Harry Houdini, and so those were the only nonfiction books that I read. I pretty much exclusively read fantasy, so that's why my book has so many fantastical elements, is because that is what my experience was. And the Warriors series and the Guardians of Ga'Hoole and the Redwall series really had a huge impact on it because all the characters are animals, just like those other ones. But it's a completely unique story. It has a combination of a lot of different things and my own take.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, just before we step away, I have to bring up Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I thought that you had been deeply involved in this community for much longer than you have, but it's actually, you've come to it fairly recently.
Yeah, you would think, I actually went to school as an engineer.
Okay.
So you would think that I'd be surrounded in college by geeks, which I was.
Okay, good.
By specifically Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure, yeah.
And I wasn't. There wasn't really that community there. And it's actually something very new. I knew of it because my dad actually played it in college.
Really?
Yeah, but he hasn't played it in a long time, like probably since years before I was born.
Okay.
But I knew of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. I was like, oh, role playing is not really my thing. I don't like to dress up, I never liked Halloween very much, to dress up and walk around. I liked the candy, but not.
Sure. Yep.
I didn't like costumes, and that's what role playing seemed like to me. And I was like, I love board games. I like to play board games, but why would I try to learn something that's this huge community of weird people who sit in dark corners and roll dice? And that's what my perception of it was. And then I had a friend who we played board games with at work, and he was like, oh, we're gonna try out D&D. None of us have ever played before. The DM has played before. They're experienced, but they're the only ones who have ever played this game before. We're gonna get a bunch of us together and we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see what happens. Just one game, A year later, I've been playing consistently about every week for the last 5 or 6 months or so, I think. And it's maybe less than that even, but I have been playing, I think, for about the last year, and it's been so much fun. And at first it was hard because I write stories all the time, but I don't really write the backgrounds of the characters. They kind of just come as I'm writing them. And so it was weird to pick up this sheet and there's just some numbers on it and a class and a race, and I'm supposed to put a background to this. I wrote like 5 lines, like hodgepodging together, random, like somehow trying to tie together the background I had chosen and the race and the class, and I was like, oh, this is an awful nightmare. But as I started gaining experience in this, I started being able to flow the creative juices a little bit more. This last character that I made that I haven't gotten to really play yet, I put more effort into this character than I do into my books. I have a page of backstory, and I actually sat down with the DM for like 3 hours on the weekend, and he ran a one-on-one adventure for my character to pull them into the campaign, and it was so much fun. Because unlike everything else, I didn't just have a list of skills. I had a person, and because of who they are, they had these skills, not trying to go the opposite way where they have skills and I'm trying to explain them away. These skills and abilities that she has came out of who she is, and I had an idea for the first time of who she is, and she's so far, every time I get to play her, which is twice so far for like limited amounts of time, but she's gonna go into the campaign, and I'm so excited because I love playing her because she is a real person more than all the other ones I've ever played. So
nice.
It's been so much fun.
Nice. A fantasy author playing D&D. Who'd have thunk it?
Who would have thought?
We need to step away for a moment. We will be right back with Lydia Deyes. Welcome back to Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I'm here with Lydia Deyes, and look at this, folks.
It appeared.
Look what has appeared between us.
Magic.
Yes, it is magic, and there is magic contained within, I have no doubt. So I'm just going to jump right into the gimmick, right into the hook, and say, Lydia Deyes, tell me about your damn book. So hit them with the title first. Let them know what they're supposed to look for on Amazon.
Yes, so it's A Song in the Rain.
A Song in the Rain. Start typing that into Amazon search box and buy it.
The main character is actually a sparrow who is deaf. So he's a deaf song sparrow with no recollection of his past. He wakes up in a burning tree, has no idea how he got there, no idea why the tree is on fire, just that he probably needs to get out of there and not contemplate all of this.
Sure, yeah.
And when he gets out, he realizes that he is deaf, because he starts realizing, like, that the branch is falling and it didn't make a sound. And that's traumatic for him. He's just in this brand new world, has no idea what's happening. He's deaf, he can't hear people talking to him, animals talking to him. And he's just trying to figure out where he is. Does he have a family? You know, what's going on? And he starts to try to learn words, and be able to communicate, but it's really hard for him. And while he's staying with this family of squirrels, or this grove of squirrels, weird things start happening. Every time he stays somewhere, that place catches fire. And the fire doesn't spread. It's just that one place. It's not taking over the whole forest. And he starts to realize something is targeting him. Or he thinks so anyway. He doesn't know why.
Nice. Okay. All right. And we'll stop there. No spoilers. We want people to buy it and read it. Tell the folks how they can find it.
It is on Amazon.
Okay.
It's a paperback. It's Kindle, on Kindle Unlimited too.
Okay,
so
nice.
if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free.
Nice.
It's also pretty much anywhere. You can go to a Barnes and Noble, and if they don't have it on the shelf, you can ask them to stock it.
Okay.
And it's set up so that they can do that. They will not just say no, it doesn't have the right discount, or it's set up correctly, so they'll be able to do that.
Nice. All right. Well, we have a segment on Tell Me About Your Damn Book called The Five. Are you familiar with The Five?
I am not familiar with The Five.
Which means you haven't watched any episodes of Tell Me About Your Damn Book.
I have watched some of the episodes.
So anyway, what we do is we have 5 standard questions that we ask every author who comes on Tell Me About Your Damn Book. And it's actually good that you haven't seen the 5, because if you had, you would have been prepared, and now you're going to be completely blindsided. So that's going to work out nicely. So let's dive right into the 5. So question 1, if they published an author's yearbook today and you were in it, what would you be voted most likely to do?
I will actually say it would probably be most likely to publish in multiple genres.
Aha.
Yeah.
Question 2. This one's going to be easy because I read 3 of these on your website already.
Oh.
Which 4 faces would appear on your author's Mount Rushmore?
All right. Patrick Rothfuss.
Okay.
Lois Lowry.
Okay.
Brian Davis.
Okay.
And which one? There's so many to choose from. I'll put Catherine Lasky on there.
Wow,
Yeah.
She left J.K. Rowling off of her.
I did
Mount
enjoy
Rushmore.
J.K. Rowling's books, and she's definitely up there too, but I was more influenced by these authors than I was even by Harry Potter, although I did read all of them.
Question 3. What's something about you that almost nobody knows?
I had a feeling you were going to ask this, even though I didn't. I don't know. I was thinking about it on the way up here. I'm like, what would I answer for that if you asked that question? It's like I could read your mind.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I actually sing.
Do you?
I don't sing professionally.
Okay.
But there's a group at my work that sings at retirement homes and other volunteer activities, and I'm one of the lead sopranos / second soprano, depending on how much they need the spot to be filled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And now everybody knows.
Now everyone knows I can sing.
Question 4. What is your favorite curse word, and in what phrase would you be most likely to use it?
So I don't really curse.
Okay.
I grew up in a very conservative Christian household.
Okay.
So it was indoctrinated in me from a very young age. And even when I got to college and was a little more free, I still don't really curse that much.
Okay.
But I like to come up.
but
I like to come up with alternative curse phrases.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really fun to think about how a character would curse without actually cursing in the world that they're in. So at one time she actually says, "What in green grass was that?" And I think in my sci-fi they say something like "Mother Automation" or
Mother Automation.
Yeah,
Okay,
I like coming
one
up with fun ones like that. They're
Okay.
like they're silly. They sound like someone's upset.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time you're kind of smiling a little because it's silly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair
I'll do
enough.
that.
Fair enough. And finally, question 5. If the world ended right after this video, what final message would you want to convey to your fans?
Hold on to something. That's what popped into my head. The world's gonna end. So hold on to something. Hopefully someone you care about next year.
That's a perfect answer. A lot of authors stumble on that one because they forget that the world is ending, so they implore people to buy their books, and there's really no time
You're not gonna
left.
have time to read it.
Exactly.
It's 300 pages.
Right.
You're not reading that in 3 seconds unless you're some Einstein or something.
Right.
Some people can read really fast.
Some people can read really fast, but the world is ending right after this video, and we only have
Hold on to
seconds
something.
left. So hold on to something, people.
Yep.
Hold on to something.
Or
That's
someone.
the wisdom of Lydia Deyes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with me on Tell
Yeah.
Me About Your Damn Book. It is, plug the book one more time. Let them know how they can get it.
A Song in the Rain. You can find it on Amazon. It's probably the best way to get it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Cheers.